Well, hello there, everyone. I thought I would do something a little different today. Hey again, pardon two introductions in this video, but in this series I'll be popping in, so I'll be appearing quickly from time to time to explain a thing or two. Now this phrase, a thing or two, is actually a really great expression. I highly recommend you remember it. So to learn a thing or two just means to learn a few things. A thing or two. I've actually got my daughter Aria here, and she is Aria, how old are you now? Did you hear that? She spoke. She's about 5 months, or actually a little bit over 5 months. And, I just figured I would talk a little bit. This phrase, I just figured, means that you just thought about doing something now. Listen again. I just figured I would talk a little bit. Now, I just figured means, again, you're thinking of something right now. So I was maybe sitting at home and I just figured I would go out and have a picnic, or I just figured I would go see a friend of mine. So at that moment, I was thinking I should do something. I just figured. I just figured I would talk a little bit. Wow. She's actually, yeah, I got like kind of a smile out of her. Now, this just means that she doesn't usually smile, or that it's difficult to get her to smile. And you can use this with anything. So maybe you got a smile out of someone who usually, like your boss at work, he's like really angry all the time, and you just got a smile out of him. So I was able to get a smile out of him, It's a little bit tricky. Sometimes I can get her to look at me, but sometimes I'll try to get in her field of view. What's going on? What are you looking at? Now, you'll have to listen to this carefully. We've got, what are you looking at, and what's going on? What's going on? Listen. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? These are just really great examples of blending for conversational speech. So I'm speaking to my daughter. When I'm teaching her, I'll take something, if I'm reading a book and I say red dog, blue dog, and I'm being very specific about what I'm teaching her. But I also have the times where I'm just speaking conversationally to her, and I'm blending the sounds of my words together so she can hear how everything works. So I'm saying something like, what's going on? Or I'm, looking at something like, what are you looking at? 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 What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And she's done this ever since she was like a little baby. Like, she'll kind of stare up at the wall like this. I guess one of the things when you're starting to become a parent for the first time, you're still looking at that. What's going on? She's actually so quiet, though. This is pretty cool. So I thought it would be interesting just to bring her on and, kind of talk about what it's like being a new father. And now that she's starting to move around and do more interesting or different things, she's starting to develop some different habits. And now, speaking of habits, and this is a great phrase you can use when you want to transition from one topic to another. So maybe I'm talking about water, like the water at my house, the water pipes, and I say, oh, speaking of water, my friend and I went to a water park last week, so I'm going to connect something. So speaking of my daughter picking up new habits as well, it's actually really interesting being a father and all of the new things that you learn about yourself as a person, being a parent or a father in particular, but also you get to try a lot of new things and experience a lot of new things. And it's even, kind of more weird or more interesting when you're living in a different country. So I thought, since sometimes I bring some interesting things onto the program or on videos, I would just bring one of them now. So here it is. Look at this thing. Now, see if you can guess what this is for. What do you think this is? I'll just give you a second. And this is the box from the product. You can see it's got a lovely mother with a baby in here, and it's called the Mama Hanamizu Tote, which just means the mother taking the snot out of the baby's nose thing. So what you do is you put this end here in the baby's nose, and you put this end here in your mouth, and you like suck it out. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that's crazy, really. I've never seen anything like this in America. Now, I know what you're thinking.
What would happen if I used this on my own nose?
And since this wouldn't be a great YouTube video without me doing something a little bit weird, I thought I would decide to actually just give this thing a try. So, let's see what happens. But I'm actually not going to do that in this video, so I do apologize if you were hoping to see that. You know, actually I was a little bit nervous thinking about putting, you know, this in my nose and this in my mouth, because I thought if I tried to use this on myself, I might, you know, blow up the world, or there would be like a hole in time or space or something like that. I was thinking about like a Back to the Future scene where Doc, you know, he has the crazy hair and he's like, Marty, we can't, you know, do this. We're going to change time.
The time continuum has been disrupted, creating this new temporal event sequence resulting in this alternate reality.
English, Doc.
And speaking of Back to the Future, this is actually a really great opportunity for you to learn something from the movie itself. So you can see this is a very typical thing that happens in movies. You've got one character that's like the smart guy and he speaks in really complicated language. And then you've got another guy who's the more simple one that's just saying, hey, like, can you give it to me in English? He's like, in English, Doc.
English, Doc. English, Doc. English, Doc.
In English, Doc. Like, give it to me in English. So you'll see this in movies and TV shows, and you'll see something like, you know, one native speaker, like a boss or a person that works in, you know, a technical situation like a laboratory, and he says, oh, like, you know, we've got this technical thing and using a lot of technical language, and then another person, or you could say, oh, could you explain that in English? Or in English, please. In English, please.
English, Doc.
But I don't want to invade this video too much, so we'll kick it back. We will return it. We'll kick it back to, well, I guess you'll kick it back. I'll kick it back to myself. Oh no, maybe I'm going to like rip another hole in time talking to myself about myself or whatever. But anyway, we'll let them say goodbye. You want to say goodbye to people out there? Oh no, you're going to turn around again? You want to say goodbye? Say bye-bye. To continue learning, click on the link in this video to download Speak English Naturally, our free guide to speaking and sounding like a native English speaker. The guide reveals the 3 most important kinds of conversational English you must learn if you want to sound native, and will help you experience instant improvement in your fluency and speaking confidence. To download your free guide on a mobile device, click on the link in the upper right of this video. To download your free guide from a computer, click on the link in the lower right of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the guide.